Okay. All right, so let's put this over here. Okay, so let's come and sit in Virasana into hero pose. And for this, you could use either your brick or a block or both, like this. And I don't mind these blocks to sit on because actually they give quite a nice width here, because what you want to do really is to nestle the sides of your feet around the edges of the block, and then sit your sit bones onto the block. But if you find that that is too tough for your knees, or indeed any other, or your ankles, then please don't sit like this. Don't force yourself to sit in a position that is going to be uncomfortable. So we're going to sit here for a couple of minutes. We're going to do some breathing. Sometimes it is nice to sit higher up. So if you need to be a little bit higher, that will reduce the compression and potentially reduce the compression in the knees and the ankles. So feel free to sit a little bit higher if that is going to be beneficial for you. Okay, so good. Nice to see you're getting comfortable. The best thing that you can do here, this is Virasana. So Virasana is a very classic meditation posture. And obviously we've got to watch the knees, but to give yourself a bit of space, come forwards onto the fingertips, and then using your thumbs, just roll the calf muscles out slightly and then sit back down. And you might find that that gives you a little bit more space in the knee joint, and maybe just a little bit more comfort here in the hips, because you just move the calves. Especially important if you've got bigger calves. I've got really big calves, and they're a pain. They're a pain to buy long boots for sometimes when you can't get the zips done up. Okay, so why are we sitting in hero pose? Well, hero pose is very grounding pose. We can sit nice and evenly on the sit bones, and we're going to take Earth Mudra, which is the thumb and the ring finger on both hands coming to touch, and then you can put the index finger and the middle finger together if you want to. You don't have to take this mudra, but I thought that because it's Earth Day tomorrow, the 50th celebration of Earth Day, coming up tomorrow. So all the classes this week are going to have a very earth-themed basis to them. So I thought it would be quite nice to start with Prithvi mudra. So Prithvi means earth. So we're going to start with that. And any mudra, any hand gesture just means a seal. And it's believed that you have lots of different energy channels that run out through the fingers. Energy that leaves through the fingers, we have energy that leaves through the feet, energy that's through the top of the head as well. And by touching the fingertips or making different hand gestures, we seal some of that energy in. This is also a heart mudra as well. So it's quite nice to think about the heart as we think about earth. Think about the beating heart of the earth. Okay, so close your eyes. Relax your shoulders and begin to settle your breathing. Now, if after a little while you get tired of sitting in Virasana, then please find a seated position that is more comfortable for you at any stage. Begin to breathe out, letting your shoulders relax. And if you're familiar with Ujjayi breath, begin to contract the back of your throat slightly. Let the breath travel down the back of the throat. Feel the belly begin to expand just gently, not forcing the breath down into the belly, just letting it expand gently, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and out at your own pace. Now, because we're thinking about the earth, thinking about staying very grounded in this week's practices, and that begins with whatever is in contact with the earth. So for this particular pose, we kind of want to take our awarenesses away from the feet, the ankles, the knees, and keep them on the sit bones. Make sure that your sit bones feel rooted, feel grounded to whatever it is that you are sitting on. Allow there to be a natural curve in your low back region. And try not to collapse down into your sit bones. Maintain a sense of lightness, a certain sense of lift. And whilst we have the earth underneath us, holding us steady, giving us confidence, the earth, it also allows us to grow. So just like a seedling, you can imagine a seedling beginning to sprout up through the earth. Not only the earth nourishes it, but the earth gives it that scope, the ability to grow. And where does the seedling grow? It grows up, it grows towards the sun. So think about the sun now being above your head. Think about the light above your head. Think about the connection between the two. The earth holding you steady, holding you grounded, but the sunlight drawing you upwards. We want to move up. We want to have our faces in the sun, as I'm sure, at least I hope, as many of you have had the opportunity to do today. Get out into the sunshine, feel the wind on your skin and the warmth of the sun. The sun's been really quite warm today. Just keep breathing in and out. Taking your mind now back to your sit bones and maybe thinking about Muladhara chakra. This is the chakra that lives at the base of the spine. For men, it's about where the perineum is. For women, it's just slightly deeper inside the body. And we visualize the color for Muladhara as being red. So red is the earth. Red is our root chakra. Breathing in, breathing out. And let that fire, let that fiery red glow move up through your body, up along your spine. Well done. Let's take a few more breaths here. It's feeling nice and centered, strong, safe, resilient. All of these are ways to describe that earthy, stable place. Muladhara is being strong and balanced. All right, now then, with the next exhalation that you take, I'd like you to drop your chin towards your chest. And keep letting your shoulders be soft. Allow the length in the back of the neck to grow. And you're going to sweep your chin across towards one shoulder, keeping it as close towards your body as you can. And then sweep it back to the middle. Keep trying to make a double chin and taking the chin across towards the other shoulder. And sweeping it back to the center, going really slowly, quite carefully, sweeping over towards one side and back to the center and over towards the other side. And this will be the last one. And then come back to the center. Good job. Lift your head, and as you do so, lift your gaze, lift your eyelids. And you're probably ready to move by now. So move gently, move kindly. Ease yourself over onto all fours. Maybe just take the supports away. Make sure there's lots of space on your mat for you. If your feet have gone to sleep a little bit, then maybe just tap the feet out. Create a little bit of sensation back into the ankles, into the toes. Okay, and then we will tuck the toes under, but simply just move the bottom backwards towards the heels, please. And as you do so, just gently press into the palms so that you give your toes a bit of a stretch out here, just waking up, because our whilst we sat on our sit bones and connected to the earth that way, we're also going to do some standing poses, and we want to think about the connection of our feet into the floor. And when we begin to stretch the spine out, the feet out this way, so stretching the toes, stretching the soles of the feet is very good for waking up the spine. So if you're feeling a bit achy in your back, if you're waking up in the morning and your spine is feeling achy, massage your feet, roll your feet on a tennis ball, sit like this, stretching out your toes, do the toe rolls that we do on a Thursday morning. If you've come along to that practice, think about all those sorts of things. Okay, so when you're ready, float up to an all fours position, keeping your toes tucked under. Make sure that there's plenty of space for your body, your spine to stay long, but send your heels back, and we're going to take 5 breaths into a high plank. So we're just thinking now about the palm, so look down at your hands, keep your body weight towards the top of your palm, and make sure you're using your thumb side of your hand, not just the outside. Press the heels back, keep a tiny lift to the front of the hips so you're not sagging your body down through the midline. That's nice. Take another breath here, you've got this, just building up some strength. And then floating the knees back down. Good job. When you're down with the knees, maybe lift the sit bones, let the arch of the back dip and lift the chest looking forward. As you breathe out, gently round the spine and come into a cat stretch. Breathing in into cow. Just take it at your own pace. Maybe find your ujjayi breath. Breathe out, gently round. Maybe untuck the toes and press the tops of the feet into the floor here. Keep going. You're going to do another couple of these, please, so you can go at your own pace. Okay. All right. And then I'd like you to bring your knees together. Drop your bottom backwards towards your heels. Bring your hands round by your ankles. Let your forehead come down low. Support the head on a block, or use your hands if you need to. And let the shoulders round now. Let the wrists relax. Just take a few soft breaths in and out. Okay, keep breathing, and as you do so, allow the breath to really ground down through the sit bones so that you can feel the connection of your body sinking in and towards the earth. Okay. So on your next inhalation, we're going to come up to sit, and you're going to transfer your weight round so you're sitting onto your bottom. And I'd like you to sit with your legs out straight, your heels away and your toes high. Hands down by your sides. Now, if it's ever difficult to sit on the floor, then please use your support, use your blocks to sit on if you need to. This is Dandasana. We need to be using the tummy muscles here to hold us upright, pressing the backs of the knees down and towards the mat, sending the heels away, and just gently, as though you were standing, pressing away through the soles of the feet too. Hands are just here to give you some guidance on your posture, but there's no weight in the palms, no weight in the hands at all. Roll the shoulders back slightly, lift through the sternum, chin into the face, gaze forwards at something you can find at eye level. And take another couple of breaths here. And so you're getting into the theme of tonight's practice. So we're going to be very slow, very, very thoughtful, very methodical, just taking our time to enjoy maybe some stillness in the poses, which for some of you, those that practice with me regularly, know that my classes are often very different to that. We're often flowing, we flow from one pose to the next, to the next. So, so this is different, and I want you to see how that reacts with your energy levels. Okay, so now from here, look at where your knees are on the mat. Put your hands behind you, and then bending your knees, put your feet where your knees were. We're going to come up into tabletop pose. So that means you've got your fingers pointing towards your hips here, but if that's uncomfortable for your wrists, turn your fingers out slightly, that's okay. Another option is to put something underneath the heel of the hand. So if you feel that you need a little bit of extra height, you can roll up the end of your mat to give you something to put your hand, the heel of your hands on, so that your wrist joint is not so compressed. The reason that we're putting so much detail into this is because you're going to be here for 5 breaths. So draw the navel in, roll the shoulders back slightly, and lift up. Okay, so you're going to hold this pose now for breaths. Keep breathing. If it's too much for your wrists, please feel free to come down. Press into the soles of the feet, big toe joint, think about there. Press into the tops of your palms, not near your wrists, near your fingers. Lift the front of the body, lift, squeeze the glutes. Breathe here, keep going, you've got this, 2 more breaths. Find your Ujjayi breath. 1 more breath. Good job. And then gently come down. Very nice. Okay, give your knees a little bit of a hug, because that's quite nice to do after this. So just softens the shoulders, softens the upper arms, gives the wrists a bit of a break. Good. Take another breath. And then keep a hold of the knees with the left hand. Take the right fingers behind you. You can put them onto a block if you like. And turn to look over one shoulder. And just spin your body around. Keep the soles of the feet together, the sit bones even. Open the chest, open the rib cage. See if you can keep looking out behind you. And stay for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And then inhale your way back to the center. Swap hands, and as you exhale, take the left hand behind you and turn the other way. Keep breathing and lifting up the spine, staying steady on the sit bones. Breathing out to turn the rib cage. Good. Take 1 more breath in, 1 more breath out. And then as you inhale, return back to the center and stretch the legs out. Okay, sorry, I've got no idea what is going on, but this has never happened. Okay, are we all back to normal now? Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you can see me okay. Okay, all right. Okay, good. That was a bit weird. My whole laptop just suddenly turned off, and yeah, that's never happened before. Let's make sure that this is all gone and that you good. Okay. Very strange. Right. Okay. Can you come? Let's come up to stand. In fact, and if you've got 2 bricks, then you can keep those at the front of your mat. 1 brick is also fine. Okay. If you've got 2, try to make sure they're the same height. Come up to stand, and stand facing the bricks. Have your feet about hips width apart, and then spread out the balls of your feet. Drag your heels back. And then stand up nice and tall and think about the 4 corners of your feet. So the big toe joint, baby toe side, heels. And then Let the tailbone move down slightly, draw the navel in a little bit, take the shoulders backwards and down, turn the palms forwards, bring the chin in towards the face, maybe close the eyes or gaze at something in front of you that's at eye level. Now think about your energy moving down into the earth and the earth reciprocating by giving you energy back that's holding you steady, holding you very grounded and secure. Then think about the top of your head being very light, very spacious, as though you are moving upwards, just like that little seedling, you're moving up. And there's lots of lovely space and room inside your body. Take another couple of breaths here. And always come back to Tadasana, especially if you are feeling a little bit wobbly this week, if you're feeling a bit uncertain, if your emotions are all over the place. My advice would be to get outside, take your shoes off, stand barefoot on the grass and stand in mountain pose and be here for as long as it takes for you just to feel a little bit calmer. And it works wonders, and it goes so well with Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath really is a beautiful, calming, grounding breath practice. Okay, so we're going to open the eyes if they're closed and put the hands on the hip creases. Bend the knees just a little bit so that you can allow your pelvis to tilt forwards. And as the pelvis tilts forwards, you can release your hands down towards your brick or bricks. A seat of a chair is good, something that is upright, something that's about the same height as the brick you would find in a yoga studio. Think about then pressing into the palms or pressing into the supports gently so that you can then lift your sit bones, so your legs are nice and straight. Think about your navel lifting, even though the lower back is arched slightly. And you don't need to look towards your navel here. You could look directly down in between your hands. And notice that my hands are quite far in front of my feet. So I'm trying to maintain lots of lovely length for my spine. I've not got my hands too close to my feet, so I don't want to hunch my back. Now gently lift the back of the heart. So we're not collapsing through the chest towards the ground. So maintain this lovely upright position as though we are moving away from the floor. And you're going to take one more lovely breath here. This is Ardha Uttanasana. Good. And then to come out of the pose, bend the knees, lift the heart a little bit and come up to stand. And you can stay on this spot. I'm going to turn around so that you can see. And you're going to breathe the hands up above your head. And I want you to hold one wrist like this. You're going to stretch up, and at whatever wrist you're holding, you're gently going to lean over towards that side. You're going to take 3 breaths here. So breathing in and out. 2 more. Breathe in, lengthening, pressing the palm away. Sending the hip out to the side, 1 more breath. Good. Then come up to the center as you breathe in. Swap over, so you're holding onto the other wrist and gently lean over to that side. 2 more breaths. Nice. 1 more. Okay, inhale, come back up to the center gently and breathe out, bring the hands down, bring the palms together in front of your heart and bring the feet together too. From here, allow the knees to fall forwards and the sit bones to sink down a little bit. Keep lifting up the front of the heart, so you've made a sort of zigzag shape with your body. And if it's comfortable, you're going to leave your hands here at your heart space. Or if you can, you're going to bring your elbows together and put your thumbs on your third eye. And then lift the fingertips and lift the elbows. Don't lose your Utkatasana shape. Just hold this here and breathe. Keep squeezing the inner thighs. Keeping the knees bent. Try not to stand up too straight. Very good. Take one more lovely breath here. And then bring the hands down to the heart and stand up. Separate your feet a little bit wider apart. Bend the knees, hands to hip creases. Gently fold yourself forwards and allow your hands now to hang to the floor. The head hangs, the chin comes towards the chest. You're standing in full Uttanasana, full forward fold. If you need something underneath your hands, if you need the floor to be a bit closer, use your block here if you need it. But just stand for a moment, folding yourself in half. Lifting up the sit bones now. You can keep a little micro bend in the knees if you need to. Good job. Taking, when you're ready, one more breath, in and out. And then on the inhale, bring the hands to the hip creases, lift to halfway, and then bend the knees some more, lift the heart up. So you're hinging as you come back up to stand. Good, okay. We're coming into Warrior One next. So another really nice, strong standing pose that builds and cultivates strength in our bodies. So your right foot is going to stay near the top of the mat. You can put your hands on your hips and stride your left foot back, please. Now I've got my left foot quite far back. You don't need to go back so far if you don't want to. The key here is, can you square both hips? So if you imagine your hips are like headlamps of a car, they need to be pointing straight towards the top of your mat. They've gone out to the side, that means your leg has gone back too far. So baby step it in a little bit, and then you'll be able to square your hips more successfully. That's the most important bit here, because you want to protect this sacroiliac region here. As your practice develops, you can begin to take your foot back further, but obviously don't strain this region. The key here is to keep your left heel onto the floor, and as you bend your right knee, you will be able to gauge if you can still keep the pelvis square, the hips facing forwards, and you might find that you can wiggle your right toes just a little bit further forwards if you want to. You're looking for a bit of an opening into the right hip, into the left hip, and the left leg really strong, pressing into the outside edge of the left foot and pressing into the right big toe joint. Options for the arms are here at the heart, Anjali Mudra, or you could take the hands up above the head. You can keep the palms together, or you can separate them if your shoulders prefer that. The gaze can be forwards or up in between the palms if you like, but please don't strain the throat. Please let the breath remain soft. If you're wobbling here, you need to take your foot out to the longer edge of your mat so that you've got more width for the pose. Beautiful, you look fabulous. Okay, keep your right knees bending, please. Don't come out a bit too much. Okay, one more lovely breath. And as we breathe in, bring the hands down to the heart again or onto the hips. Lift up the back heel and step the left foot forwards. And just return back to mountain pose, because that's where we find our steadiness. Take another breath. And then we're going to step back with the right foot. So left foot, spread out the ball of the foot, drag the heel back just like you would do for a normal Tadasana. And then stride the right leg back. Remember that you can obviously turn the body to the side to get the foot in position, but then you have to be able to turn the hips back to face the front of the mat, and then you'll get that nice stretch in the psoas on the front of the right hip. Okay, remember, feet to the longer edges of the mat if you're feeling a bit wobbly, or back foot in if you feel that you stepped back too far. Okay, Start to bend the left knee, pressing into the left big toe joint, but the outside edge of the right foot behind you. Body square to the top of the mat if you can, hands either at the heart, or you can take them up again. You could look thumbs. Some people like to lace the fingers but point through the index fingers here for this pose. Keep breathing. Very nice. Keep lengthening your tailbone down, lifting up through the front of the hips. And this just stops you from dipping into your lower back too much and sort of relying on that curve or hanging in the curve of your low back. Beautiful. Take another lovely breath here. And then as you breathe in next, bring the hands down. Lift up the back heel and step forwards. And just take some turns with your hips in circles. And the other way. Good. All right, so now I want you to turn. So you're going to stand sideways, a bit like this. Okay, so if you need to change your camera angle or your mat direction so that you can see, because we're going to do the next few poses from this position with the feet. Okay, so just finding what you're aiming for is about a leg's length between the 2 feet, so that if you can see yourself in your recording, you're trying to make an equilateral triangle. Okay, so that's what it should look like. And so we can really work at correcting our alignment just through the shapes that our bodies are making. Okay, take the arms out to the sides, please. And just hold this here for a breath or two, like a 5-pointed star. Those of you that have been doing a bit Joe Wicks in the morning and you've been taking your side bends and things and your twists and things like that, he loves a bit of this, doesn't he? Okay, so we're going to come into some goddess squats and we're going to do a little bit of triangle pose and some wide leg forward folds as well. So from here, turn your right toes out to point towards the end of your mat. Turn your left toes in. Reach across towards the right and then bring the right hand down, take the left hand up and look up towards your thumb. You could use your brick to put your hand onto if you wish. You're just taking a few breaths here. However, press into the right big toe joint, so you're really working the inner right leg, and press into the outside edge of the left foot so that you are working the outer leg, because we've got a stretch on the inner leg, on the back leg. You want to feel as though you're really using the ground to create length and lift away from the floor through the length of the legs. Take another lovely breath here. And then as you breathe in, look down. As you breathe out, float back up, leave the arms here. Turn the toes out into the other direction. So left toes out, right toes in. Reach across to the left. Try not to stick your bottom out. Make sure that it's a side bend. And then bringing the hand down. Right hand goes up. Look up towards the thumb if you can. Just take care with any shoulder stuff going on. Remember, option to leave the hand on the side of the body if you prefer. Just start to move the bottom in slightly. Press into the outside edge of the back foot. Press into the big toe joint of the front foot. And make sure there's lots of space for the spine. We're not really trying to collapse the spine. We're trying to keep it long. So move the spine away from the pelvis, up through towards the light, always up through the light through the crown of the head. Take another lovely breath here and out. As you breathe in, look down. As you breathe out, float up and turn the toes forwards. Hands come towards your hips and spin your heels in a little bit, please. So your toes have now pointed out slightly. I'd like you to bend your knees and sink your bottom down. I'm going to do the same thing. Bring your hands together at your heart, bring your elbows together. And if you can, have the thumbs on the third eye center. Just gently breathe in and out here. Keep lifting the elbows, but sinking down through the sit bones. Keep the front of the hip bones lifting up. Notice how you're using your tummy muscles here to hold you steady. Think about grounding into the soles of your feet, legs nice and strong, glutes working hard. Well done. One more breath. And then gently release the hands to the hips and straighten the legs. Good. Turn the heels out again. So we're going to fold into Prithvi to Padottanasana. So we're going to fold forwards. And there's loads of options for this. We will take a couple of them, but firstly we'll bring the hands to the floor. So if you feel that the floor is a long way away, put something underneath it if you need some extra height. To come into the pose, put your hands on your hip creases, because this is where you remind yourself to fold at. Breathe in, shoulders back. Breathe out, bottom back, to tip the pelvis forwards and to fold downwards towards the ground. Use your brick, use your block. If you want to take your feet a bit wider here, you can. Allow the upper body to hang forwards towards the ground and have your hands just gently onto the earth. Think about being kind. We don't want to be stamping. We don't want to stamp on the earth. We don't want to be unkind to it. So think about, as you bow your head down in this reverence, think about all the gratitude that we have for the earth. For giving us our life, really, to give us our food to eat, our place to live. Good. And then we will gently come back up. So come to halfway, hands to hip creases, soften the knees a little bit. Inhale, lift the heart, tuck the bottom in. And we'll give ourselves a little bit of a break from this leg position by heel toeing the feet in a little bit closer together. So bring the big toe joints together, outside edges of the feet parallel. Stand in mountain pose. Close all your eyes or gaze at something in front of you and breathe. Okay. Then when you're ready, open your eyes, hands to hips again, and return the feet back to your nice wide apart position. Turn the toes in slightly towards one another. And now option to take the hands behind the back. So this, you could have your hands in prayer pose, either fingers pointing up or fingers pointing down behind you. Or you could link the fingers behind your back and have the arms straight. Remember that when we've done this recently, we keep the arms straight, but we turn the heads of the shoulders forward slightly. So point through this area of your shoulders. Okay, point them forwards. Try not to roll right back so the chest opens. Keep control. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, gently fold forwards. As you come down, allow the head to lower towards the floor. Keep thinking about lifting the sit bones and internally rotating the thighs. So think about the upper part of the legs, and as though you're trying to roll them inwardly towards one another. And this will really work the glutes, it will really work the adductor muscles on the inner thigh. Think about keep squeezing and separating the sit bones actually behind you. Very nice. You're going to take one more breath here. You've got this. Good. And then as you breathe in, release to halfway, maybe release the hands to the hip creases, soft knees, and then hinge your way up. Very good. Okay, very nice. So we're going to turn the toes out now, so or bring the heels in. You can have the hands on the hips or onto the thighs, but I want you to lean towards one leg, so bending one knee, and you're going to crouch down a little bit here. And then coming back to the center and over to the other knee. So just wave from side to side a couple of times, just feeling the inner thighs getting a little bit more of a stretch. Okay, and if you can, bring your fingertips to the floor, and as you lean over, whatever is your straight leg, lift those toes off the floor and drop the bottom a little bit lower, and then walk over to the other side, lift that toes so you can really sink down, and see whether you can find a little bit extra depth here. Just remember to go at your own pace. Okay, so the next time that you are over towards your right leg, stay there. I would like you then to keep your left hand on the floor. Now you could put a brick there to give you a bit of extra height. I want you to rest your elbow towards the inner knee and lift your left toes off of the floor. Now that might be enough of a stretch. Don't worry if your right heel comes off of the floor. With time, it will go down. Some of you might like to keep pressing right elbow and knee together and then lifting the left arm up, looking towards the left thumb. And breathe. Good. Some of you might like to take your left hand behind the back of your body. You might also like to internally rotate your right arm, taking that under your shin and finding the other hand behind you. If you can't quite reach, a strap is a really good thing to have. So you have your strap behind and you use that to create a bit more length for your hands. So you're just binding the pose around the front of this shin. So you've really got to get it up underneath your armpit to make that gap a little bit narrower. I know, you're all looking at me like, yeah, okay, Joe. Just have a little bit of a play, do what you feel comfortable with doing. Okay, and then probably release, that's probably long enough. And then it might be quite nice just to head back towards the center, to stand up and just give your leg, your right leg particularly, a little bit of a shake out. So step the feet, shake it out. Okay, so if you were using props, take them over towards the other side. Okay, feet step apart. So this is variations on Janu Shirshasana, because this is the seated pose where you bend one knee out towards the side. We're going to come to that in a minute. So we're going to start by bending the other knee. So bend the left knee, the toes have turned out, remember, and you're coming down to a crouch and you can lift the right toes off of the floor and you're trying to get your bottom quite low down. So it might be that you just hang around here for a little bit, kind of thinking about sinking the sit bones down and giving the right leg that really nice stretch on the inner and the back of the thigh. Remember, you could use a block here, and if your left heel lifts off of the floor, don't worry, just go with it. Okay, so you kind of want to bring your elbow and knee quite close together, and if you can get your knee towards your armpit, even better. Left hand stays on the floor, right hand lifts, and it might be that this is where you stay and you look towards your right thumb. Keep letting the right sit bone sink down as close towards the ground as you can. Good. If you want to go for the bind, wrap the hand around the back of the waist. Internally rotate the left arm to bring the arm behind and just see whether you can find the bind behind you. Let's hold this here. Turn the right shoulder back slightly. Good job. And then gently release. Well done. So come back to center, maybe just ease yourself upright, maybe have a little dance of the hips on the journey there, and come back up to stand when you're ready. Heel toeing your feet a little bit closer and giving the legs a bit of a shake. And the wonderful thing is, after doing that, tree pose is going to be an absolute doddle. So, standing balance, Vrksasana. Choose a leg to stand on. I don't mind which one you go with first. Spread out the ball of that foot. Drag the heel backwards. And then, maintain a kind of long, lifted feel. So we want Tadasana, we want the earth to hold us steady in mountain pose. And then you can turn out what will become your balancing leg. You can keep your toes on the floor. You could rest your heel onto the top of the foot and lift your toes off of the floor, and that could be your mountain pose. Or you can take the foot a little bit higher towards the inner calf, or you can reach for the foot, place the foot as high up the thigh as you can, and then once you've found your foot position, remember to press your standing leg into your foot, as well as your foot pressing into the standing leg. Hands together at the heart, or you could have beautiful open branches out to the sides. Just think of all the blossom on the trees, standing so beautifully at the moment. We've got such a gorgeous display, a springtime display out there. I'm sure we're all noticing a lot more this year than we probably have done in many years. So ground through the feet, put the hands wherever you want them to be. Grow tall, but remain steady. Really nice. Well done, everyone. So taking this next breath, beginning to lower the hands, bring the knee forwards and drop the foot to the floor. Great. Shake it out of your standing leg. Okay, so other foot, other side, spread out the ball of the foot, drag the heel back. Think about your lovely tree roots moving through into the earth. Take your balancing leg, turn the knee out to the side, turn the toes out to the side, open across the front of the pelvis. Find your balance, your center of gravity, and begin to slide the foot up onto the inner leg if you can, or higher if you wish to. Remember, hands are just the extra bit, if you like, for your balance. You could have a go at the elbows together and the thumbs on the third eye, and just see whether that gives you a sense of feeling grounded, of feeling secure. Maybe keep lifting the tips of the elbows up. Okay, take another breath. Oopsie. And then when you're ready, release the hands. Bring the knee forwards, straighten out the leg. Good job. Shake it out. Very well done. Okay, so one more thing that I'd like to do before we come to sit, and it's to go back to this wide apart position with the toes turned out. You're going to bend the knees and bring the hands towards the inner thighs. Let the sit bones sink down as much as you can. Now from here, lower the heart. See if you can get your heart as low as your hips. Your hands staying onto your thighs. Know that if you want to put them on the floor at any stage, you can. You're going to turn, keeping your heart low, but just turning to look behind you. Keep the sit bones sinking because they will want to lift up. Then come back to the center, breathe in And breathe out, gently turn to look over the other way. And notice how you're just cultivating all these lovely strong legs. Breathing in to look over one shoulder, breathing out to come back to center. Do one more, look over the other way. Nice. And then come back to center. Good job. And then you can make your way down to the floor. So if you want to ease your knees down to the ground, and we're back to sitting in Dandasana. So yeah, if you need to change your camera angle or anything like that, go for it. Excuse me. Untuck the flesh of your bottom. Sit on a brick or a block if you need to. Legs out nice and long, heels away, toes pressing. Hands down by your sides for Dandasana. Okay, gaze at something out in front of you at eye level. And just feel the back of the legs pressing gently down into the mat. And the spine sitting upright, nice and tall and spacious. Shoulders relaxed. Settle the breath. Good. So a little bit of Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. We're going to bend the right knee, bring it in towards you, and take it out wide to the side. So you're bringing the sole of the foot to rest on the inner thigh. And if you need to put something underneath your right knee, please grab a cushion or something like that. Equally, you could use a strap. If you find it tricky to reach for your foot, use a strap or a dressing gown belt, something like that, to give you a bit of extra length. Breathe in, bring the arms up above the head, press the back of the left leg into the floor. Keep asking the right knee to move down. Exactly the same as tree pose, only sitting. Exhale to lower the arms out in front of you and reach forwards. Go as far forwards as you can before finding your foot or using your strap and allowing your upper body to draw the navel in, but allow the upper body to creep down the leg. Chin comes towards the chest, eyes close or open, your choice. Elbows out wide, and feel this giving the back of your hips a nice stretch. Okay, so you should feel this across the back, the very lower back, just above the buttocks. Good. Okay, taking an inhalation when it comes and lifting yourself up to sit upright. Now we're going to move the right leg, and it might be that you turn a little bit more towards the side of your mat rather than facing forwards. You've still got your left leg straight and you've still got your right knee bent, but maybe not the sole of the foot on the inner thigh anymore. Maybe the heel is in towards the middle of the groin. You might also, another variation is to keep the foot flat. So if you find that that is easier for you for your hip, you can have your knee up in the air here. Okay, so what you're going to do, whether your foot is here or whether your knee is up here like this, you're going to hold onto the ankle with the opposite hand. So you've got your arm going across your body. If you have a strap, this is quite a nice time to use it, and it's quite nice to put a loop of the strap around your foot, just in case you need an extra length, okay? So that's your setup for the pose. Strap is there just in case. You might not need it, you might not want it, but what you are going to do is hold on to this ankle with your opposite hand, and you're going to side bend towards your straight leg. For me, it's my right arm, but it will probably look like my left arm in the reflection, is going to cartwheel up and over, and I'm looking for my foot to hold on to create this bind. If you can't quite reach it, use your strap to take a side bend because you want to be able to look under your arm towards the ceiling. Okay, so I'm glad you're all on mute, so I can't hear you cursing or giving me, I can't see the daggers either. I'd normally be getting daggers from all of you, like, what the hell are you making us do? But you're in a side bend, you've just got this, you've just got a different position. Sometimes we do it like this, don't we, where we hold on with both hands. That's too easy. Let's hold on to with the opposite hand. So this is Prithvi Janushasana, revolved head to knee pose, because the Prithvi means the twist. All right, have a little breath and gently come back up and release your feet, release your legs, release the strap, straighten out your legs and maybe just lean into your hands. Give the legs a bit of a shake, well done. All right, let's do the other side. So back to sitting. So remember, all of the poses that we do building up, if you like, to the final pose, they're all the preparations. They're all just as valid, just as important. And so if you find that it's a bit tricky getting into the final pose, just go back a step and practice a part of the pose or an aspect of the pose that you did feel more comfortable, more secure. And if you've got any questions about any of this, just ask me at the end or I can show you in a bit more detail. So let's do left leg. Let's lift the left leg in towards you. Take the knee out wide and support the left knee if you need it. Breathe in and bring arms up. Breathe out, lower arms forwards and reach forwards. And make sure that your sit bones are sort of walking out behind you, tilting out behind you. Use your strap around your foot if you need a bit of extra length. And take the elbows out wide, bring the chin towards the chest and just allow yourself to fold towards the leg, but remember it's along the leg. So it really doesn't matter to me whether you can touch your nose on your knee. In fact, I'd much rather that you were able to touch your nose on your toes, which is probably anatomically impossible with a straight leg. But nevertheless, it's the keeping the length in your front body I want you to maintain as you allow maybe more the crown of your head to be moving in the direction of your toes. So your spine is staying long, you are not collapsing, over hunching or over rounding, particularly your lower back. Remember that forward folds happen because you are tilting the pelvis. Okay, one more lovely breath here. And then let's inhale our way back up. And I'm going to come around this way so you can see. But remember, you are going to just take yourself so that you're more facing a diagonal. You're not facing the top of your mat now. The foot comes a bit away from the inner thigh, the knee comes out to the side, and you can leave your knee down like this if you prefer, or you can have the sole of the foot onto the ground like that. And that's probably the more traditional way of practicing this pose. If you were using your strap, you'll want to put a loop, like tie it to the foot, is probably the easiest thing if you've not got a strap but you've got a dressing gown, or use your loop around it so you've got that to hold on to easily. And then for me, it's my right hand which is going to be holding, and it will be for you even though it looks different in the reflection. So hold the ankle with the opposite hand and then think about side bending. And we want to keep the sit bones balanced here, the sit bones even, but see if you can side bend enough over. Notice how there's much less range here for me on this side. I have to work so much harder to find the foot. So it would be better for me to keep my elbow pointing up towards the ceiling and to keep my heart space nice and open so I can maintain it as a side bend rather than feeling like I'm collapsing towards the floor in a forward folding. I want to keep turning my body to face out to the side so I can keep my heart open, chest open, breath able to move into the belly. So just see how you go with this. Keep breathing, that's very nice. Good. Take one more breath. And then gently release and come back up to sit. Good job. Well done. So take away your strap if you were using it. Come to sit sideways on, just straighten the legs out, give them a little bit of a shake. And so we wouldn't have all these kind of wide open leg positions if we didn't do a bit of Upper Vista Konasana to sort of finish. So I like to practice this by sitting on something. So if you've got a cushion or a block you want to sit on, and then you're going to come into a wide leg position. So feet as wide apart as you can get them. You're not really looking for a box splits. So those of you that are able to do that, kind of rein it back in a little bit if that's the case. But as ever, I take my fingertips behind the back of my thighs or knuckles, lift my sit bones up, and I kind of just throw them back a little bit. And that initiates the forward fold. It initiates the tilt of the pelvis. Heels away, toes high, please. And just think about the hips tilting. And it might be that you grab a chair, the seat of a chair is quite nice, a brick to put your elbows onto, a cushion, and don't worry about rounding. I'm not bothered about if your face can hit the floor. I would be more interested, can your tummy button touch the floor? Because that is a real tilting of the pelvis. I'll wait for the comments on tummies and things like that. You can let me know your thoughts on that visual in a minute. But nevertheless, think about your upper thighs externally rotating so that the kneecaps stay pointing up. Draw the quadriceps nice and tight. Press the backs of the thighs into the floor. Press out through the heels, through the big toe joints, and think about keep tilting the pelvis. See if you can inch yourself down just a little bit lower. Remember that when we bow forwards, when we come closer to the earth, we give the earth that sense of our gratitude and our deep respect. And we just breathe in and out. Feeling that sense of rootedness, but also the sense of space. And our yoga practice is always looking for that mixture of being grounded and secure, yet putting spaces, achieving lightness, creating lots of lovely sensation in the body. All right. So when you feel ready, gently inhaling and lifting yourself back up. Good. Give the inner thighs a little bit of a rub. Well done. And then ease the legs gently back towards one another. Give the legs a shake. And then maybe just sitting with the legs out straight, put the hands back on the floor behind you, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, and think about just squeezing the shoulder blades towards one another. Good. Then maybe just bending the elbows and leaning back a little bit lower to see how that feels for the shoulders, a little bit of a shouldery stretch. Good. And then inhaling to come back up. Very nice. Just cross the legs for a second. So before we come to sit, we'll take a little seated, just a gentle cross-legged twist. So you can have one leg crossed in front of the other. Just sitting up nice and tall. taking one hand behind you onto the floor, the other arm crossing over towards the opposite knee, and turning your gaze to look out behind you. And just sitting here, breathing gently in and out. Okay, take an inhale, come back to the center. And as you exhale, turn the body to twist the other way. Take some breaths here. Good job. Then on an inhale, come back to the center. As you exhale, just gently do a mini turn in the opposite direction just to release. And then come back to center again. Good job. Okay, so that brings us to Shavasana. So just clear off your mat space, any of your props, get them out of the way. If you want to use a blanket to cover yourself over with, it's really important to stay warm, to keep the body heat in, because you'll lose it really rapidly as soon as you lie down. So blanket is always nice if you can't, even if you can't put a jumper on or extra layer on, that sort of thing. And then as soon as you are ready, come to lie down. Using whatever supports you need. If you've got an eye pillow, cover your eyes over. And just sinking and settling your body for a Shavasana for this evening. So as you settle down, as you begin to release and to soften, just think about the base of your spine becoming very soft, but steady and easing its way into the earth. Think about the connection, letting your sacrum sink into the mat. And from the base of your spine, from the Muladhara chakra and the color red, the red ball of light, maybe visualize a red flower and allow the roots of the flower to sink down deep into the earth, holding you steady. Holding you safe, allowing you to feel resilient. And even in times where there is a lot of change and a lot of turbulence, we know that we can connect back into this source. So allow the back of your body to feel as though it is sinking into the mat. Feel the peace and the stillness, and allow your body to let go, to just be. Maybe at the base of the spine, you can feel a sense of warmth there. A heat that is moving into your lower back and nourishing that area. Visualize the color red associated with this heat. And allow the color to deepen. Let it change into a brilliant red, the color of poppies. Visualize this beautiful, delicate flower. Feel the energy generating from its essence. Be aware of any sensations, any shifting in energy, any feelings that are coming from your body. Now imagine a field of crimson poppies. And you are walking through this field. It makes you feel vitality. There is upliftment in the energy from this flower. And it fills you with joy. Stay for a while in this field of poppies and enjoy. Now go back to the sensation of warmth in your lower back. And feel this warmth spreading around the whole of the body, moving and filling the entire body. Then take your attention back to the base of the spine and be aware of a slowing down. Think of the energy center, Muladhara, the ball of light, and if it's spinning, allow it to slow, coming back into its center, settling down to a slow, pulsating, a gradual letting go. And consciously allow this chakra to return to the natural state. Let there be a sense of stillness and well-being. Be aware now of your belly and allow the breath to normalize the body back into the here and now. Take your time, but be fully present, aware of how your body is feeling and any communication, any signs from your body. The body communicates in feelings. And sometimes it's when we take these moments to be still in Shavasana that we give ourselves the opportunity to listen to these feelings. So get out of your thought-filled mind and just be in your body for a few more moments. Okay. And then begin to become ready to come out of Shavasana. So think now about your fingers and your toes. Turn your head gently from side to side. Take a stretch out any way that feels good. Just invite a little bit of length, a little bit of movement back in. Okay. And then you can gently bend your knees when you're ready and roll yourself over to one side so that you may come round and up to sit. Good. Welcome back, everybody. Lovely. Okay, so come to sit in any comfortable position. Take your fingertips to the ground next to you if you can, and we'll just finish together. Okay, so breathing in, bringing the hands up above your head, palms come together, and then exhaling down and letting the hands rest gently in front of your heart. Close your eyes and let your chin fall closer towards your chest. Let the shoulders be soft and the jaw relax. And just for a few moments, just sit with your breath. And think about 3 things that you would like to end your day feeling grateful for. Three things that have stood out for you today. It's so important, even when times are difficult, just to reflect back on all of the things that we have that make us so fortunate. And then when you're ready, taking a breath in, opening your eyes. Well done. Namaste. Good. Okay. So take it easy, enjoy the rest of your evening. I think there's supposed to be a meteorite shower tonight, so maybe you could continue your grounded earth practice and get yourself outside, and if it's a clear night, maybe hang around and see if you can see some shooting stars. And I'll look forward to seeing you later on in the week, no doubt, for another practice.